Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and an absolute pleasure to be with you. I was up late the last two nights. First of all, watching the Super Bowl, then streaming last night. So I hope you joined us in the Blueprints house. We weren't great, but we did get something done. Anyway, I'm hoping this isn't too long a video today, although I am a little bit nervous having read the rule set. Now, this has come in from Patrick Juncker, who we've featured on the channel a couple of times before. Patrick has what I would describe as an Irish first name and a German sounding last name, so he's French, I think. The puzzle is called Ça fait la rue Michel, and I'm prepared to share a secret with you. Not the one about how much every row, column and box adds up to in a Sudoku, that'll come later I imagine. But about how I try and make my accent sound more French, which is try and stress the last syllable of any word. That's my tip for making you sound a little bit more French, and French people can absolutely laugh that off if they want, that's fine. But we're going to have a look at this puzzle in a moment, and I'm looking forward to it. Patrick often sends quite difficult ones through, so maybe my wish won't be granted. We will see. Now, first of all, I do want to mention that on Patreon you can have a go at the Duality 3 hunt, which is by Skunkworks. It features 19 puzzles. Well, to be fair, it's 18 and a kind of finish off one, so don't worry too much about the 19th. It's very easy if you've done all of the other 18. The puzzles are brilliant. They feature clues which have dual meanings, and thank you so much to Riff Clown, who was moderating last night, of course, and to all of Skunkworks. We've got other stuff on Patreon, which includes some difficult cryptic crosswords, listeners and stuff. Great fun to be had there, and grid and connections as well. So loads going on. There will be a new connections video tomorrow, I believe. Now, also, we've got all of our apps which do feature Domino Sudoku, but also Classic Sudoku 2 and the Worms, and they're good fun. And we recommend them all highly. Do check the links under the video. But the first link is to this puzzle. As I say, it's called Ça fait la rue Michel, which I looked up, and it's a colloquial French phrase meaning that's enough, kind of that's good enough, from something that taxi drivers used to say in Paris. Anyway, it's all news to me. I'm going to read the rules, and they are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That means 1 to 9 will go in every row, column, and 3 by 3 box. The grid hides a labyrinth, a single continuous region of orthogonally connected cells. A 2 by 2 block may never consist entirely of labyrinth cells. There are no dead ends in the labyrinth, which means that every labyrinth cell is connected to at least 2 other labyrinth cells. And all remaining cells, apart from the labyrinth in the puzzle, are walls. Walls form isolated groups of exactly 4 orthogonally connected cells. And isolated means that wall cells from different groups cannot touch each other, not even diagonally. Digits within a group of walls do not repeat and sum to 14. So they're like a killer cage, adding up to 14. Every wall group is a killer cage. Every other digit is in a labyrinth. The labyrinth doesn't have any dead ends. Right, there's just a couple more rules. An X between 2 cells indicates their digits sum to 10. All X's are given. And an X is always framed when it lies between 2 cells of the same type, either labyrinth cells or walled cells. Okay, it's a slightly more complicated rule set than usual, although to be fair, in yesterday's video, apparently I didn't really explain the rule set very clearly, and I apologize. But we kind of have to work with what the constructor has said. Sometimes understanding the rules is part of solving the puzzle. Anyway, okay, we've got a labyrinth and everything else is walls. The labyrinth has no dead ends. The walls are killer cages adding up to 14. X means adds up to 10, and if it's framed, only if it's framed, it lies between two cells of the same type. There's two negative constraints in this puzzle, and I think they're a bit different. One is about... Actually, let's leave that to the solving. Give it a try on the first link under the video. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. Right, those two negative constraints. One is that all x's are given, so those two cells can't add up to 10. The other is that if x is not framed, then it's got one wall cell and one labyrinth cell, because an x is always framed when it lies between two cells of the same type. Yeah, I mean, the trouble is, I'm thinking about this rule set about labyrinth and walls. And I'm not seeing any way we can start the puzzle there. I don't know how I could begin drawing bits of a labyrinth or bits of walls. So, if that doesn't kind of bear any fruit, then I'm going to look at this box. We've got three x's confined within this box. So let's make that one red, this one yellow, and that one blue. And what I'm thinking down here is maybe if we can identify the groups that sum to 10 in this puzzle, we could expand that through the grid and maybe then get the labyrinth and walls drawn based on that. I don't know. Okay, these two are not... Let's say, think about the digits from 1 to 9. They form four pairs that can add up to 10. 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7, and 4, 6. And then there's the digit left over, 5. So in this box, which obviously contains one of each digit, we have one... Let's call those four groups of digits red, yellow, blue, and green. In this box, we know where red, yellow, and blue are. Green is not those two cells because there would be an x between them. So one of those cells is the 5, and that is green. And these ones are green and a 5. And I just wonder, I don't know that this is going to be able to spread throughout the grid, but if that's red and we've got an X here, that's also red. Now this X can't be green because that would give you 3 greens in the column, and it can't be yellow for the same reason, and it can't be red because that would give you 3 reds in the box. So this is a blue X. And then the 2 remaining blues in columns 4, 5, 6 are both up here, but they can't be touching or there'd be an X. So those are 2 blues. This looks like the way to go now. This digit can't be red or there'd be an X. It can't be blue because we've had 2 blues. It can't be green or there'd be an X where it touched the green. Now, I was going to say so it's yellow, but it might be 5. Okay, what about this X? That can't be yellow because we've had yellow in the row. It can't be blue or there'd be 3 blues in the row. So this is either red or green. Well, those are both quite interesting. If it was green, well, if it was red, first of all, that's red. The 2 reds in row 9 would be in these 3 cells. At least one of them would be on the X, so both of them would be on the X, and the X would be red. If this was green, that would be 2 greens in row 8. That cell, where does that repeat in row 9? It must be in one of these 3 cells. But we've already had 1 green in the row down here. So this green would have to be there, because it couldn't bring the other green into the row. And now this X over here, would it have to be red again? Or I suppose it could be yellow. How about this cell? This can't be green or there'd be an X, and it can't be red. So this X and all its mates, this X cell and all its mates are either blue or yellow. Oh, I don't know. This doesn't feel easy at all. Can we make more deductions based on what we've got? It's almost like there's just one X too few somewhere. I mean, it might be lack of X's, and I'm just not seeing how they work. So in this central column, we've had 2 reds and 2 blues. Everything else is yellow, green, or a 5. That's not allowed to be double green. If this was double green. Actually, maybe more interestingly, if that was a 5, this would be yellow. And then we would have to have 2 reds there and a green in between them. It's all very if-based. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to have to beg your indulgence, and I'm going to scrap this whole method. Because I don't think I'm on the right track, actually. I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave those down there, at least. No, I might as well leave these in. But I think I might have to think about something else entirely. I might have to, in fact, recant on my original claims that you can't do anything. Okay, I'm thinking about this X here. This is either all labyrinth or all wall. Okay, this might be a better way to go. I'm sorry if I've misled you for 7 minutes. Let's just choose a weird color. Let's go violet there. If this was wall, then these 2 cells have to join together with 2 other cells to make a region that adds up to 14. Well, these 2 add up to 10. The other 2 cells would be a 3 and a 1. Now, the other 2 cells, they couldn't include those cells, either of them, because you would end up with a wall, with a labyrinth that had dead ends. Like if you tried to make that part of the wall, the labyrinth would either dead end up into here or dead end into there. So if these were wall cells, they would have to let the labyrinth go round the outside here fully so that it didn't have dead ends. Now, we know that this X would be 1 of each. So we've now got 3 cells of the wall thing, and the labyrinth would have to extend out there. This digit, oh my goodness, actually, maybe this is what's going on. This digit would have to be a 3, because the other 2 digits to go in this region would add up to 4. There'd be a 3 and a 1. You couldn't put a 1 here because you'd repeat the 9 in the box. So that would be a 3. And then there'd be 1 more digit to go in this sort of wall region, which would be a 1. The trouble is, I'm now seeing this as possible. I thought I was going to be able to rule it out. Oh, no, this one's better. This one's better. Look, if that was wall, the same principle is going to apply around here. You can't just have one or two of these joining into that wall, because then you get dead ends going around the outside of the labyrinth. But this X has to be one of each. Well, I mean, it obviously couldn't be wall there and labyrinth there, or you'd have a dead end. And if you turn them round the other way, I think you've got just as many problems, because you can only have one wall cell up here and you must have a labyrinth dead end. So there's no way that this is wall. This is labyrinth. What color am I having for labyrinth? Let's make it orange. I'm probably going to get rid of all these colors in a moment, but at least I've now found that's labyrinth. Now, labyrinth can never have a 2 by 2 area, so one of these is in a wall. Well, we also know one of these is in a wall, because it's an X with no framing. So I could see that that could be a wall. It is also possible for it to be the other way around. If that was labyrinth and that was wall, you could have a wall up here of those 4 cells. No, that would be a dead end. That's no good. Right. Well, that's all brilliant. Okay, this is labyrinth. This one cannot be labyrinth, or it's going to get dead-ended, because you're going to have to put wall in here, and that would be wall. Right, that's wall, that's labyrinth. Now the wall 4 cell area is there, and then we can shut that off completely. We can seal it off. Right, I'm getting rid of these colors because they're just getting in the way now. I'm sorry. Somebody recently remarked in a comment, and I was very interested, I didn't know much about this, that they felt Simon Solving was like a supercomputer that kind of follows the rules one after the other at great speed, and that I was more like a quantum computer who kind of circled around all the possible ways of doing it before homing in. This is an example of a solve where I have absolutely just flown off on the wrong path, maybe, and then come back. Anyway, it's not, I don't think of myself as a quantum computer, I can tell you. Right, this is not allowed to be a dead end. I mean, that was a very useful bit of the rule set where every labyrinth cell is connected to at least 2 other labyrinth cells. So this one has to connect to that one. This one has to connect to that one. Now we have to avoid a lot of 2 by 2s, and suddenly we're drawing a chunk of the grid in colors. I'm going to change my labyrinth color to yellow, just for clarity. Now, these 2, we have to extend there and there so we don't have a dead end. Now these 2 greys have to join together, because if they were separate regions, they're not allowed to touch diagonally. So they must join together, and we've got 3 of that piece. And they do not join to this one, and they do not touch this cell, because that would create the diagonal touching. So that's yellow. And we're allowed branching within the labyrinth. We're just not allowed cells connected to only one other labyrinth cell. Now, this is double of one color, so it's not grey, because that would create a 5-piece grey. What about this pair? If this was... If this is double grey, then that's double yellow, and that's fine. If this is double yellow, one of these is grey to complete the 4-piece. Oh, hang on. If that's double grey, That's double yellow, and that is not fine, because then we've completed a 3-piece grey. This can't be double grey, because one of those would either join it up or they'd both be yellow. No, that is double yellow. Right. Now, one of these is grey and one is yellow. Oh, this is grey because this is an unframed X. Yeah, I mean, this does actually start filling the grid with colour. This is fascinating. How could I have gone so wrong on how to start the puzzle? Hopefully, I'll be able to bring in my colour scheme later, although maybe I'm going to have to use letters. Yeah, probably. Anyway, one of these is grey and one is yellow. That means one of these is grey and one is yellow. Because whichever one of these is grey is going to force yellow to go round the outside, and whichever one is yellow is going to force grey to avoid a 2x2. Oh, should I be able to tell which is which there? Or do I need to move on to another pairing? Now I'm suddenly running out of framed X's. I've got 2 left in the puzzle. Oh, does this work the same as... Actually, at least having brought yellow that close might mean we can think about these X's again. So if that was double grey, this is all yellow, and that's grey. So we'd have triple grey there. Now that would have to be separated from that grey to avoid a 5-piece region. We'd have all yellow here. Looks possible to me. Wow, I'm feeling so inadequate at this puzzle. Don't tell me I meant to suddenly jump into numbers at this point, because I don't know anything about the numbers in the puzzle. Well, okay. Do we have to think about that? Yes, I do know something about the numbers. The grey areas add up to 14. So that area adds up to 14. That pair adds up to 10. Here comes the actual Sudoku secret, that every row, column and box adds up to 45. That area adds up to 24. This area adds up to 21, and it doesn't have a 9 in it. It is 8, 7, and 6. Okay, I do know something about the numbers. The high digit on this X is a 9. So that's a 1-9 pair. The rest of this is a 2, 3, 4, 5 wall area adding up to 14. That can't be a 5 there. So look at that. We can do some numbers. This digit is low because it sees 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's not 1 because that can't be 9. I mean, this isn't really doing anything now. Now, I want to keep going with the colouring. I do. I mean, there must be a way. There must be a way. Let's just take it easy. Okay, if this was yellow, this would be grey. And is that a problem? We would have... Oh, down here. Oh, this is absolutely easy. This can't be, this is a yellow and grey pair because it's an unframed X. We can't have yellow in the corner or it would be an obvious dead end. So that's grey, that's yellow. Oh, it's so blindingly clear. Right, so grey has to get out. It has to become a 4-cell shape. And it can't touch this because that would be a 5th cell. So it can't go into either of those, so it goes here. It's really easy, guys. So that's grey to complete the 4 shape. This is yellow so we don't have dead ends. These are both yellow so the greys don't touch each other even diagonally. This needs a second yellow to touch it. This is grey to avoid a 2x2. This is yellow because it can't be a dead end. Wow, and suddenly it, bits just flow. That was a really usefully placed X. I had no idea. Right, what about this one? If it was grey on top of yellow, then grey would have to go this way, I think. It would kind of be symmetric to that, mirror symmetric. If it was yellow on top of grey. Okay, I don't know up there. Let's come back down here. This is one of each. Oh, this must be doable. If this was yellow on the left, okay, that wouldn't work because this would become a 5-cell region. I'll show you why. If this was yellow, this grey has to get out and become 4 cells, but that is the same colour as that, so that's impossible. So this is grey, that's yellow. Now the grey shape here is a 2x2. It's always a 4-piece. These are yellow to seal it off. That's grey to avoid a 2x2. This is grey because this is an unframed X. This is one of each, and we must know which way round they are. No, we don't yet. This is one of each, and this is one of each. And now I'm just talking without saying anything. It's so interesting. I love this, but I'm finding it so difficult. 20 minutes in. That's about the time I took to solve yesterday's puzzle, and I feel like I haven't started this one yet. We've got this weird little square down here. If this was yellow, that would be grey, that would be yellow. Now that would force a grey region here. That one would probably, yeah, that one would have to connect up to the top. That would be a grey region, and there'd be one over here, and I think this would be a whole, yeah. So if this was grey, this would be yellow. It's 2 cells that it would be touching are here and here, and this grey would be forced up there, and this yellow would all seal off. So these would all be the same colour, yellow, and that would be grey. Actually, it works. That's annoying. Let's try it the other way around then. If this was yellow, these 2 cells would be grey. That doesn't work. Imagine if those 2 cells were grey. You're going to have to make this grey, because otherwise you've got diagonally touching greys, and then it's a 5-cell region. That's not allowed. So those 2 are yellow, that one's grey. This is exactly what I was then saying. This yellow has to join up to 2 other yellows. This grey has to form a 4-cell region. Yellow seals it off, and we're still maintaining this mirror symmetry. We actually are. Now, this is one of each. And these are the same. Okay, if it's mirror symmetry, they're yellow. So what goes wrong if these are grey? Right, if these are grey, it's utterly impossible. Right, if these are grey, these all become yellow. How do I know that? Because they can't all be grey, and we mustn't have dead ends. So if those were grey, these would be yellow. That would be grey, but this can't be yellow, or it would form a dead end or a 2x2. So that would have to be grey. Oh, hang on. This now looks like it does work. I was trying to prove how that was wrong, and I'd seen it in my head. And suddenly I'm not so sure. If we had a 2x2 here, it hasn't failed. Oh, do you know what? It took me a long time to see how useful that domino was. This is obviously on the path, in the labyrinth, because you can't put a 9 into a 4-cell region adding up to 14 with different digits. That's the most obvious move in the puzzle. You could have done that in the first second, and now I've done it in the 24th minute. Right, that is yellow. These are the same colour. They now can't be... I was going to say they can't be yellow. That's not right. They can be. I think they are from the symmetry point of view. Okay, maybe I should go down here. This is one of each. That's one of each. I don't know. This one. Don't throw me back at the numbers. I don't want to do the numbers. The numbers confuse me. Right, if these were grey, which they're not going to be, this would all have to be yellow going round. And we would get a yellow square up here. Now this would be grey. Well, maybe let's use maths then, because this grey square would have to add up to 14, with 10 there and a 1, 3 here, and that digit would be 7. I don't know. Maybe that does work. Or maybe I should now start thinking about lettering X pairs. Okay, I'm going to do it. So have I got the letter tool? Let's have the letter tool. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is pair A. This is pair B, and that's a B as well. This is pair C. This is from pair D together with one of these. These are D and 5 in some order. Now, we then worked out, in my original schema, these were blue because they can't be C, they can't be D, and they can't be B. So they're A. And then A are here and here. That is a pair that adds to 10. You know, this might be interesting. It might help. I don't know. This A is a low digit because it's not 9, 8, 7, or 6. We kind of also know now that's not 5. I mean, this might actually help. But I'm going to need to extend it in a way that I couldn't when I was just doing colours earlier. B and B. Where can the other... Oh, well, this group adds up to 14. It's... no, I was going to say it's got a 5 in it. I don't know that. This might be helpful. This can't be a 2, 3, 4, 5 group, so it's definitely got a 1 in it. It's because of those two cells. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about these things together. I honestly think so. And maybe I'm... Oh, this 6, 7, or 8 is in a 14 sum. If that was an 8, this is definitely 1, 2, 3. That would be a 4, 6 pair. Oh, this is getting quite interesting. I am going to have to do numbers, I think. And then somehow they're going to inform the path over here at some point. Oh, goodness. I just don't know how it's going to work. If these were yellow, I think that has to be a grey area. And if these are grey, that's all a yellow area. So these are all one colour. I don't know. Okay, I keep getting distracted. 1 and 9. A could be 1 and 9. Actually, that's quite interesting. A could definitely be 1 and 9. And if it wasn't, 9 would be in one of those cells. Sorry, I am trying to work this out. I don't know how to go about it properly. Where does that B go? Oh, that's really easy. Where does that B go in this box? It can't touch this B because it would have an X, and it can't go in those cells, so it must go there. So in this central column, we've had 2 A's and 2 B's. Oh, 3 B's, that's no good. It can't go there. Where does this B go in box 5? It's not allowed to go there. If it was touching this B... Oh, that B is that B. Right, I'm sorry. Okay. Where does this B go in box 5? That is the germane question. It can't touch this B, so it doesn't go in those cells, and it doesn't go there. It's in one of these 2. And then there's a B in one of those. Oh, that's not quite so helpful. One of these 2 is that B. If it's here, that's another B. And these are always the same because they're on the same X. Those are always the same. Should I be thinking about 9s because they can't be grey? Is that what I'm meant to do? Yeah, there's a 9 in column 1 that has to be in these 2 cells because it's not grey. 9 is never in grey. I mean, that's weird. So this is not a 1-9 pair. But I don't know which the 1-9 pair is. I really would like to know. I have a strong suspicion it's A. If it's not A, that is a 1-9. Is that? No, that's a poor conclusion because 1 could be in one of those cells. Wow, I just don't know how to do this puzzle. That's becoming clearer and clearer. This is one of each. So the yellow has to continue. So if these 2 were yellow, then this grey is impossible. Right, here's why this can't be yellow. Because that would be grey. This yellow would have to continue. This grey would have to get out. We'd have 3 cells there. You can't make that grey or you've got a yellow dead end. And you can't make that grey because one of these is going to be grey. So we do know which way around yellow and grey here go. Yellow is there. Yellow has to extend. Now, because it mustn't have dead ends. Now, these can't both be yellow or we'd cut off a 2 cell area. The yellow is going to have to sort of come round as a path, either through there or through there, I think. Right, if this cell is grey, it's got to join on to this twosome, because otherwise it would cut it off. So if that's grey, we've got a little shape like that. A tetromino like that, and then all of these are yellow. Okay, so either that's a grey domino or this cell is grey and then these 2 have to join together, in which case, so because otherwise this has to get out and sort of touch this either diagonally or straight. So we'd get a 2 by 2 there with grey here. That's the alternative. And this grey would have to be part of, I think it's a 4-cell I tetromino. Now that does seem possible. It seemed the less likely version. We've either got that or that. So this cell is always grey. And this is yellow to get out. I think this is always yellow on both my schemes. If it's that, yeah, this is always yellow because this has had 3 greys. and its fourth is either going to be there or there. And then we're going to be sealing that off. If we're sealing it off there, these are all yellow. If we're sealing it off there, these are all yellow. I don't know which is right. Let's look at that. If these are all yellow, that's grey and joining up to this one. And then we've got to have a yellow line up the outside to have no dead ends and so on. And these three would have to form up with grey there. No, that's impossible because this yellow would either be a 2x2 or a dead end. So yellow, grey there. And that's impossible because when you seal it off with yellow, you'd create a 2x2. Good Lord. Okay, that is complicated, but it does not work for this cell to be grey. It would have to join up with this cell. You'd have these three. You can't join them up in column 9 or you create yellow dead ends. You can't join them up here because this cell becomes impossible to be yellow. Either it's a dead end or it gets out in a 2x2. And you can't join them up like that because the yellow path round here joins onto that. Wow, so this cell is yellow. That means this one is grey to avoid a 2x2. Now we've finished this off. We seal it off. This is grey because of the X. This is grey because it can't be a dead end. This is grey for the sake, well, we've now got to have a 4-cell grey. Then we seal that off with yellow. This can't be a dead end, so we go up to here. This can't be yellow for a 2x2. Has to join up to the other grey. This pair can't be grey now, or they'd make a 5-strong piece. That's grey to avoid a 2x2. It needs to form a 4-cell region, and we are finished with the colouring. And it is utterly symmetrical. Oh, ça fait la Rue Michel. I don't know if the Rue Michel looks like this, but that's brilliant. Anyway, now we know that all the grey areas add up to 14, and I feel like this might actually start becoming useful. This is the high digit. That's probably the most useful one going into a 14 region. Oh no, let's just add up this box. 14 plus 10 plus 9 is 33. These two add up to 12 without a 9. They're either 5, 7 or 8, 4. We know which way round they would be from the 7, 8 appearing there. This digit is therefore either 2 or 3. Now I've got a 2, 3, 4, 5 quad. 1, these digits do not come from 2, 3, 4 and 5. They can't be both higher, so one of them is a 1. If they were both higher, that would be 6 and 7 going into a region that's meant to add up to 14. So one of those is a 1. We've got a 1 here, and we're going to have a 1 in one of these cells. And the 9 is going to be in one of these. So A is becoming a strong favourite to be the 1-9 pair. Now, what else is going on up here? We're going to have a high digit in this region. Well, these two include the high digit. They're going to either be 1-6 or 1-7 or even 1-8. And this is not going to be all that high. If this was 1-6, this could be 4 or 5 by maths. Oh, hang on. In this box, we have a negative constraint on x's. Right, we've got one x region there. We've got one x region there. 9 and 1 forms a third x region. No, look, no, this is really important. 3 and 1, oh, are they both in this cage? I don't know. I'm trying to work this out. This cage has to contain, does it have to contain 2 digits that add up to 10? If it did, it would definitely have 3 and 1 in it. But maybe it doesn't have to, because 1 is from the 9-1 region. If that was a 4, this could have a 6 in it. Hang on, that's one x, that's another x. 9 and 1 is a third. There's no x within here. If this was a 3, the 1 would have to be here, because otherwise 3 and 1 there would lead to this being an x pair without an x drawn in the grid, which is impossible. So if that's a 3, this is a 1. And then you've got an x pair here, which is going to leave that being a 5. If this is a 2, that's an 8. If this is a 2, we've got 1 in the region. Can we have 5 in the region? We've got this 2, 3, 4, 5 quad, so it couldn't be there. 5 in the region would have to be there. 5 is definitely in one of these two cells. If 5 in the region was there, how could 2 of these cells add up to... None of them would add up to 10. That would be a 4. This would be 2, 3, 7, 8 as a quad. And that would be 1, 6. That's probably what is happening. So for this to be 5, this is a 1, 6 pair. That's a 2, that's an 8. This is 7, that's 3. And that's 4. Okay. This is very tricky to me. It really is. Okay, here's another interesting thought. 9 in columns 7 and 8 always has... 9 is always in a yellow cell. Everywhere, in every box in the grid, 9 is in yellow because it can never be part of a grey 14 sum. So the 9 in column 8 is in one of those. The 9 in column 7 is in one of these two. Have we got some sort of X-wing or swordfish going on? One of these has a 9. I don't know. I think it's really interesting that 9 is in one of these two, but I can't quite see why. Okay, let's go back to thinking about this again. That's an X, that's an X. This digit could only X with that. Oh no, it could X with the 9, it could be a 1. I really want to know which of those is a 1. Oh, these two from 6, 7, 8 are in those 3 cells, so they must now be both up here. In fact, that digit can't sit next to its X partner, or there'd be an X between those cells. So that digit has to be in one of these two. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot easier way to see this than whatever I'm doing in it. If that was a 4, this is a 2, 3, 7, 8 quad. These are 1, 5, 6, which add up to 12. And that's a 2. So these would go 8, 7, 3. If that's a 5, we've got an X pair to fit into the grey region, which doesn't use that digit and doesn't use the 1. It's going to have to go in those two cells. The high digit would have to be here, and the low digit would have to be here. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't work this out. I'm sorry to my own brain. I cannot work out how to solve this puzzle. I feel like if I could get going, it's going to sort of flow a bit. I mean, it's an easy thing to claim, isn't it? It's so interesting. If that's 8, these are 1, 2, 3, and that's a 4, 6 pair. So is that. If these were 1, 2, 3, it just doesn't mean much for the other cells around. One of these is a 1. And one of these is a 9. I've got to use the X's better. I've got to. Maybe the lettering I did earlier. Or maybe I restart the lettering here. That digit, I feel like that. Oh, it definitely doesn't. Oh, that digit is that one, because this forms a 1, 2, 3, 4 group there and there. Goodness me. So that's not 4, that's not 6. That digit is there, and that must also appear here along with 1. One of these two is a 6. I'm being so daft. Have we got any regions with an X, a wall region with an X fully within it? No, we don't. Oh, come on, Mark. Keep thinking about this one. That was either 1, 6, 1, 7 or 1, 8. So it's a kind of 1, 6, 7, 8 quad. So this is 2, 3, 4 or 5. That's very clear suddenly. Now, this can't be the, I want to say it can't be the 6, 7 or 8 digit. Because wouldn't it form an X with that? No, because it could form an X with that. If this was the 6, 7 or 8 digit in this domino, the only way that could occur, so it doesn't form an X with one of those, is forming an X with that. So that would have to be 6. So this digit is 1 or 6. And if that was 6 and this is 4, does something else go wrong somewhere? Oh, this can't be a 1. Here's a beautiful reason this can't be a 1. Because this, to add up to 14, would have to be 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would break this cell that I've just pencil marked. So this digit can't be a 1. I think it has to be a 6. Because it can't form an X with either that or that. Right, let me just work out why this is not 7 or 8. I now know it can't be 1 because that region would break that. So never mind about what that is for a second. I can put in a 1 right here. That's my first digit in the grid after 48 minutes. Hurrah. Now, I think this has to be a 6 for some reason. Because where is its X partner? It can't be on those. It's not allowed to be there. It must be there. And that's a 4. That's a 6. Those add up to 7. This is now 4 or 5. So these two, in fact, that's the only place for 5 in the grid. Wouldn't it be lovely if this puzzle suddenly sort of flowed on now? Now, these can't use 6 or 5, and they add up to 14. 1, 2, 3, 8 would work, or 1, 2, 4, 7. I don't think anything else would work. You've got to have one higher number now. Oh, well, that means that these are either, I could just add it up, couldn't I? That's 20, that's 14. These add up to 11. They're either 8, 3 or 7, 4. Now, I have to avoid x's. That's not 6 and 4, obviously. This is now a 7, 8 pair. These are 7, 8, 9 up here. This one, the other side of A, is 1, 2, or 3. Right. Come on, come on, come on. Let's keep going. That means A is not the 6, 4 pair. So down here it's not the 6, 4 pair. Is that going to ever be any use? I don't think so. What I need to do is focus on one of these regions. This one. I can add it up to 14 now if I just remember that that's the rule. And there we go. We've finished a box. Excitement. That becomes a 2. And these are 6 and 7. And that's not 3 anymore. Now we've got a 1, 2, 5 triple and a 3, 4, 6 triple. And we know 9, right. Here we've got 10 there, 14 here. That's 24. These other cells add up to 21. This can't be a 3 or a 4, because that would be 9, 8. That has to be a 5. And these are a 9, 7 pair. That was just maths on the column. And this is a 1, 3, 4, 6, 14 sum, in which 4 and 6 are not allowed to touch. Okay, things beginning to happen. Now that has become 7 or 6. This group of cells includes a 1 because it adds up to either 7 or 8. And that can't be a 1 anymore. This digit means this one is 9, 7, 6 or 4. That's probably not very interesting. Now, in a moment, I'm going to be able to... A is that pair, so this digit can't be 7. A is either 9, 1 or 2, 8, and it appears here and here. For this group not to have a 1 in, they would have to be 2, 3, 4, 5. This B pair would be a 1, 9 pair. That would be 8, and these would be 7 and 6 down here. It's interesting, but it's not conclusive, annoyingly. Oh, this X is not even because 2, 8 and 4 are gone. So it's from 1, 3, 7, 9. This digit, I want to say it can't be 7. But actually that could be a 1, 2 and we would still add up. So I'm going to say it can't be 9. Oh, that's 7 or 9, and there's another one in this X, so that's not 7, and therefore this isn't 4. Now, if that was 6, this could be 1, 3, 4, and that would be 6. It could also be 1, 2, 5. Don't know what that means. 2 can't sit next to 8 here. Got to keep spotting these X pairs that aren't allowed. I mean, it might help. It just might help. 1 and 2 are in this group. Nah, come on, come on. Let's just keep trying to flow. That's a 7, 9 pair. This X pair doesn't have 7 or 9 on it. It's even, either 8, 2 or 4, 6. Now, does that affect this? If it was 8, 2, we couldn't have a 2 in this group. It would have to be 1, 3, 4. That would be 6, and this would be 5. Oh, it looks possible. Alternatively, that's So, that was founded on if this was 2-8. Could this be 1-2-5? In fact, it would be very convenient to bury the 5 in grey in this box. Otherwise the 5's there, and this would have to be... This can't be a 7, because this would be 1-2-4 and would use both the low possible digits here. So that's a 6. That's a 7. This now can't be a 6-4x because of that 6. So this is a 2-8x. Now 2 has got used there. This is a 1-3-4 triple. 6 can't sit next to 4 without an x appearing. 1-3-4, that's a 6. This is where 5 goes in the box. That's now a 1-3-4 triple. This digit can't be 4 anymore. In this column, we've got a 1-3-4 triple, so that's 9. And these are 5 and 7, but we knew that 5 was in one of those cells from way early on. So we're making more stuff happen. Look at this region. That can't be an 8, because this would already add up to 13 with 2 cells to go. It's happening, guys. It's happening. 2, 5, 7, 1, 3, 4, 6, 9, 8 are the remaining thingies. That can't be a 1. Now, any x's to avoid remaining in this box? Yes, 7, 3. Perfect. And that's about it there. 1-3 pair makes that 4. That can't be 8 sitting next to 2. Goodness me. Now I must be getting tied into these A's and B's. This B can't be 2-8 because of that pair looking at a B. It's astonishing how unhelpful this original A and Bing has turned out to be. I really thought it was going to come into its own at some point, and it absolutely hasn't. Oh, this pair adds up to 7 in this grey region and doesn't use a 5-2 pair, so it's either 1-6 or 4-3. It's almost a quad with that cell. This digit is now 9, 7. I should be thinking about this 14 region as well, or this one. If that's a 7, this is a 1-2 pair. Oh, look at this. That's a 1-3-7-9 quad in the row. So that's not 3. And therefore this is an 8. 1-3-7-9 in the row. And 5. So this is even. So A is an even pair. Oh, well, if A is an even pair up here, it has to be 8-2. Now the letters have helped a little bit. Thank goodness for that. That's 8-2. A is 8-2, and that's down here. That's cool. Okay, I'm happy with that. 2-8 here and 2-8 here rule 2-8 out of those cells. So they have to appear here and here to avoid touching. That is excellent in terms of the numbers I've got going on there. 8-2. 3 there means this isn't a 3, so these two aren't 7s. And we've got 4 and 6 left to fill in the row. Now I'm looking, if that was a 6-4 pair, this would have to be another 2 to make it add up. So that digit must be 3. And this pair adds up to 9. It's either 4, well, it is 4-5. It can't be 6-3 again. That didn't have a 1 in it. Interesting. 8-2-5-4. This is where 6 goes in the central box. That 3 is sorting out 1 and 3. That makes this 9-1. That's a 7, that's a 9. This is a 7 by Sudoku. We've got 3, 5, 6 down here. 7, 2, 3, 1, 8, 9. That's a 4. That's 6, that's 5. This is 1, 3, 7 across the middle. And that digit, this can't be a 3, 7x. So B has become 1, 9. That took a long time to establish, but honestly, I'm happy. Happy as a Sam boy. Right, that's a 4, that's a 6. Top 6 rows all complete. There's no 1 or 6 in this pair, so that's a 3-4 pair. This digit at the bottom is the 5. This is 6 and 7, I do believe. Not so worried about C and D markings anymore. What about this X? We've got, oh, that's a naked 7, so that's 1 or 2. This is 8 or 9. I don't know which. How irritating in a 4-8-9 triple. Right, now I've got to find some other bizarre pair. 7 is looking at that 6-7 pair. Oh, well, that's helpful. I mean, this is all just happening now, as if by magic. 3, 6, 5. Probably, I don't think I'm even going to have to use the negative constraint again. I think all positive constraints from here on in. No, wrong, right there, wrong, because of a 3-4 deadly pattern, but we've got the X. Okay, positive constraints. There we go, 1 hour exactly. Well done. You've managed to find your way through this winding street. Well, that must be La Rue Michel. My goodness, that wasn't easy for me, but I think it was because I was approaching it all wrong, both at the start and then in every segment after that. I've had a blast. I hope you've enjoyed yourself a bit. Thank you, Patrick, for sending that. I know you're a specialist in these labyrinth puzzles, and the ones we've featured on the channel before have often involved that rule set from you. Fantastic. I mean, the symmetry, the layout, one given digit. I've enjoyed myself today. I hope I haven't ruined your day or evening. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to say bye for now.